Good morning, Karen. Oh, I like
Hello,
your.
Liz. How are you?
I'm good. Are we straightened out, do you think, on all the programs through March 21st, 29th?
I believe so. It seems to be. Those that you forwarded to me anyway, but no, Kelsey hadn't updated her list that she sent me. So she had, yeah, anyway.
Right, but then
But
last
I
night
think
we
we're
got an updated one. I think it's right.
right. I double checked what she sent last night and that's correct.
Yeah,
So
I
we're
mean, that was
good.
my fault for not going in and clearing out that Google. So Kelsey had to do it.
All right. So you're next to the lake?
No, I'm at in
You're
Rhode
back
Island.
there.
I'm at my Rhode Island retreat in July. This is what it looks like from the deck. But that place,
Oh, that's good.
can't go there anymore. I found the picture and I thought,
Oh,
and I was at Pesquisite.
yeah. All right,
Whoops. Can you hear me?
let me share the video, okay? Yeah,
Okay.
yes?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Let me check the video that you have for Grant Wood to make sure that you can see it and hear it, okay?
Okay.
My name is Lila Anderson, and I'm the Educator of Visual Literacy and Learning for University Museums. I'm here today with Lynette Pullman, Director and Chief Curator of the University Museums, and we're going to talk about the murals cycle that was directed by Grant Wood here in Parks Library. So I want to start off, and Lynette is going to talk about campus aesthetic. And
doesn't it look fuzzy to you?
It starts out fuzzy and then it clears up.
Okay.
It takes about 15 seconds and then whoever's running the video, it automatically adjusts. So at first it's fuzzy and then it clears up about 15 minutes in or 15 seconds in. But you could see it and you could hear it, right?
Right.
Okay.
I couldn't quite hear Allison, whatever her name is. It wasn't, but I think it'll clear up when Lynette gets on.
Right. Well, and they're shooting it. I don't know what they're shooting with, but I don't think they have microphones on. So it's at a distance. The sound is at a distance. So
she uses it as class she uses it to teach at classes. So it's in the public domain.
Right. But I'll send out that video link in addition to our club's YouTube link so that people can watch it directly on their own. So
perfect, thank you. So it was interesting that she's mounting another exhibit today. Is Brunier?
Oh, really?
I mean,
what was that?
Is Brunier open to the public? Because she's mounting a new exhibit today, which is why she couldn't be present. And I had everything else arranged, so I couldn't switch her around on time. But yeah, I know. I don't know. Maybe it's just for classes. I don't know.
Maybe it's just for students.
I don't know. I just thought it was interesting. But don't you have to set these things up like a year and a half in advance? So I don't know what she's mounting.
Mm. It says the hours. I'm just looking it up on their website, and it says they're closed through January 25th. So I don't know what they're opening unless they're going to do a virtual.
Oh, probably. So when do you think we're
Says
good
here,
virtual?
good question. I don't know, maybe April at this point, but you know, the appetite when we put it out there, even for small groups, I don't even get 10 people. So,
You know,
and so until,
yeah, I don't want to get, I'm concerned about two issues. One, I don't want to get COVID because I live alone. I don't have anybody who can help. And two, I'm
Yeah.
really concerned about the lingering effects that affects my ability to live the way I want to. So I don't know. It's just weird.
well,
Weird.
until we can get enough vaccine in people's arms and
I
people
know.
willing to take the vaccine.
Well, the news.
I haven't heard anybody who has taken the vaccine with side effects. So that part's good.
No, but I know it goes to Green Hills on the 20th of January.
Yeah, North Crest starts Wednesday.
Okay, then Green Hills is next week. Because I know Pat's getting hers. But my brother got his in Florida at he's a cancer patient being treated by Mayo's through the cancer hospital in Florida. And so he was called in,
Right.
got his on Friday. And basically he was, by the time he left his home, drove to the 12 miles to the Institute, got his thing, sat the 15 minutes, filled out all the registration. He was back at home in an hour. So, but it's because he's one of their cancer patients. Now his wife didn't get, she's not eligible. I mean, she's 76, but she's healthy.
She's not. She's healthy, so they have to do.
Yeah, she's not.
I don't know when. Yeah, I don't know how far down the line I am with the age.
Yeah, you guys, you and like Christopher, I'm in 1B, I think. I'm after 1A. Hi, Andrew.
Hello, Mr. Sabraki. He's also by a lake. All these lake scenes, I'm going to have to switch my background.
He's hanging out in California. It looks like a California sunset, Andrew.
It's an Oregon sunset, so you're awful darn close.
Yeah, boy.
That's okay.
Yeah, did you say you went to Eugene, Karen?
Yes.
My daughter's
I'm an
there.
Oregon duck. Oh,
My daughter's
really?
there getting a master's degree.
Great place to visit.
Yeah, it is.
It's a good school. It's a very good school. What's her degree in?
She's getting a degree in nonprofit management.
Good for her.
Yeah.
Good for her. So at what school? At Oregon State?
University of Oregon.
University of
They
Oregon.
have a major in nonprofit management?
Yep.
Perfect. Good for them. Good morning, Brian.
Brian doesn't look happy. What, Brian? Smile.
He's still connecting.
He's serious.
Still connecting. Yeah.
There he is.
He's very serious.
He is, but he's on mute.
Brian. Yeah, he's on mute. We're talking about you, Brian. Just saying. You don't look happy, Brian.
I wasn't sure I could unmute there for a minute.
So serious.
It just wanted to stay red.
Oh.
You look serious. Yeah, you look very serious.
It's my Steve Jobs look today. And you're gonna be the only ones to have gotten it because I have lunch here. So I'll be muting y'all from the video part in just a second. So
that's okay.
But I'll stay on so I can add witty repartee as needed.
Are you, yeah, and we know
Have you gotten your
you're doing that
COVID
too,
shot?
Brian.
I have not gotten my COVID shot.
Oh, you haven't?
No,
I thought frontline workers at Mary Greeley had gotten theirs.
I'm not frontline.
Well, you don't want to infect your staff.
I wear a mask.
Um,
Trust me.
I think masks are good, but I don't think they're like a vaccine.
No, as soon as my number gets called, I'll go, but
He's appropriately waiting in line.
mhm.
Oh,
Yep.
good. Yeah.
Leaders eat last, you know.
Well,
Yep.
for some things, but maybe not for others. So I was telling Karen, my brother got his shot Friday because he's being treated by Mayo's through a cancer institute in Fort Lauderdale, and they called him and they'd done their frontline workers and now they're going to their patients. So he was great. I mean, he thought it was terrific. So he's on the path.
That's fantastic. Nope,
And I said, oh, I think we might be the end of February for old folks like me. I don't know.
I'm hopeful that my mom got hers yesterday. Bethany Manor was doing a vaccine group yesterday, and they got 210 folks vaccinated. So
Good for them.
mhm. We're doing a clinic today too, but I think last I heard we had just over 600 of our staff had been vaccinated.
And how many staff do you have?
1350 or something like that.
Well, I mean, I'm impressed with when I have to go to McFarland, I'm impressed with the way they manage that. I feel really comfortable going into McFarland.
Yep. Very good. Okay, I'm gonna eat now. Bye.
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 Slowing down there. Hello, Steve Dakin.
Hi, Steve.
Steve
Steve,
Dakin looks
Steve,
like
you're
he's
muted.
in a car.
he's muted.
Yeah, I see that. As I said before, how's Liz doing today?
This is great today. The sun is out. Yesterday, I was just like, oh my God. So I can wash the knives that are on the side of my sink today because the sun is out. It's pretty dangerous to have me around knives when we've had that much cloudy weather. But the sun is great. The sky is a gorgeous color outside.
You hear me now?
Yeah.
All right, good. Yeah. I got lucky
Are you
again.
riding?
Well,
Are you riding or driving?
You're driving.
No, I'm absolutely riding. Yes, I'm riding. Yeah, my lovely bride is driving, so we're headed for another meeting.
Where are you driving to?
In about 2 minutes, I'll be driving right by you. Going through Ames on 30, so headed to Anthony.
I'm waving. I'm waving.
You're waving, okay.
Oh, well, we're slowly getting up there. People are out enjoying the nice weather.
I think so. I don't blame them.
Hi, Steve. Hey, Karen, I just came from MLK Day Planning Committee, and Wayne Clinton is going to be the keynote speaker for the MLK event next Monday.
Okay.
And,
Okay.
I had sent you the MLK flyer.
I have that on the slideshow.
So if it was okay with you and Chad, Wayne would be willing to make an announcement about MLK Day events, and he will be the keynote speaker, and I thought he could share 2 minutes of what he's going to talk about for MLK Day. And would that be all right with the two of you?
Yeah, is he on our call today?
He's actually on another call with the committee. I asked him if this would be okay to offer that to you, and he said yes. Let them know I'd be willing to do it.
So I just want to be clear. So when the slides come up about MLK, will that be you or Wayne who's talking about
Oh
that?
no, we're talking. That'll just be the slide. We're talking about next Monday itself.
Okay, next Monday.
Yes. Give Wayne 2 or 3 minutes, maybe at the beginning, since it is actually that day, MLK Day.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yes.
Great. And Steve,
So
hi.
George, we have Teresa Cooper, the Associate Dean of Diversity in the College of Ag, and she is speaking.
Oh, good.
And it's a presentation she gave at iScore a number of years ago. So
she's our speaker next week?
She's our speaker for MLK, yes.
Oh, okay. Super.
Good. So she's going to, I think she's going to tell her story, but
yeah,
she's scheduled, and Jeff Johnson will be introducing her on that.
That's great.
Says my battery's low.
Hey, Steve.
Yes, sir.
I'll send you this afternoon a new resolution with only 6 whereases, okay?
You bet. I'll be looking for it.
Okay.
Trying to plug my phone in because it says a low battery. So. Okay, yeah, no, I'll be looking for that, George. You bet. Thank you. I never dreamed there's only 6 lines. So.
Yeah.
Oh, you got company.
He's here for every meeting. It's Hobbit.
He's very photogenic.
She loves Zoom. She watches all of you.
All right.
All right.
We are there. I'm to share that.
46. Here we go. I'm sure there'll be a few people still joining us, but Karen, your slides are real fuzzy. I'm not sure why that is. But anyway, welcome everyone to the January 11th meeting of the Rotary Club of Ames. As we do each week, we're going to ask that everyone stand up if you are able, and we will go ahead and virtually recite our Pledge of Allegiance. Yeah, still a little fuzzy flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And then ask that everyone also, I'm not aware of anyone specifically that is in need of extra thoughts or prayers from our group or anyone that I've been informed about. Obviously, we want to make sure that given the events that our country has been dealing with over the last week, if not year or years, that we continue to remember and live by the 4-way test in all of our interactions. That's the only thing I think that we could do is to help society as a whole by living out the 4-way test in our interactions with others and show the world maybe how to live with people who might think a little differently than we do. Is there anyone else that is aware of anyone who might need an extra thought today? Okay, so we'll just take a moment. Thank you. And we have a member of our music committee, I believe it's Andrew Zabracki, who will unmute and welcome all of our visitors with the welcome song. Andrew?
Okay, welcome everyone. Welcome to you from Ames Rotary, Nevada, London, or Gay Paris, from far off lands or the USA. We're glad that you are here today. Come back again whenever you're near. Join us and then we'll make it clear. Around the world you will always be welcome at Rotary.
Thank you, Andrew. We have some slides here of some announcements. I don't know if it's just me or if you all are seeing a little bit of fuzziness. I know my glasses do need to be adjusted, but I don't think it's just them. We have, it's a vocational service month, and that is one of our avenues of service. So just as a reminder, yeah, okay, it's not just me. The slides are quite fuzzy. I don't know, Karen, maybe that's just a connection issue or something.
Probably.
Yeah, maybe it's, yep, that's okay. So thank you. We'll go to the next slide. Yeah, and George Blitzos, if you would want to, since we can't read the slide anyway, if you'd want to unmute and just at least maybe introduce the MLK Day celebration for next week.
Well, everyone, this is an event that Rotary is a co-sponsor of with the City of Ames and a number of other groups, including, well, there's probably 10 different groups that put this together. We are making a donation to this event, and the $100 that we're donating will be given to a young person who is the winner of a essay contest on the life and legacy of Martin Luther King. So the keynote speaker this year is going to be our very own Wayne Clinton. And he is very well known. And as you know, he's probably a lot of people don't know this. He was inducted into the Iowa African American Hall of Fame. He's a longtime member of Rotary, served on the Board of Supervisors, Ames High School teacher, coach. I think we'll all want to hear what Wayne has to say next Monday. This is the first year that our celebration of MLK Day will be virtual. You could watch it live on Facebook, on our Facebook page, or on YouTube, City of Ames YouTube. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to give this a plug.
Thank you, George. So I think that's, is it 6:30 p.m. on the 18th? Is that when that starts?
That's correct. It'll
Yep.
all be
so look for the link, like you said, City of Ames or Ames MLK Celebration Committee. Google that. I'm sure you'll find the link as well. Right. So thank you, George, and thanks for representing Rotary on the planning committee. We appreciate that.
You're welcome.
And now, as a part of our ongoing Centennial Celebration year, we actually have a special presentation from one of our own. Former District Governor Don Goring is going to speak for a few minutes and introduce another element of our celebration. So I don't know, Jeff, if you have any words to say to precede Don's presentation as the chair of the Centennial Celebration Committee. Maybe before we turn it over to Don, is there anything you'd like to add?
Nope, I think Don has it. Thank you.
Perfect. Take it away, Don.
Okay, thank you, President. And thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today. I have been asked to discuss the concept of service as it relates to the Rotary Club of Ames. By way of background, the motto service above self and the motto one profits most who serves best can be traced to the early days of Rotary. At the second Rotary Convention in Portland, Oregon in 1911, the attendees approved the motto, he profits most who serves his fellows best as Rotary's motto. Also at that convention, the motto service, not self, was met with great enthusiasm. At the 1950 Rotary Convention in Detroit, Michigan, the two slogans were formally approved as the official mottos of Rotary. He profits most who serves best and service above self. 39 years later, at the 1989 Council on Legislation, the motto service above self was established as the principal motto of Rotary because it best conveys the philosophy of unselfish volunteer service. Wording of the second motto, one profits most who serves best, was revised and adopted in 2010. Let's look at the concept of service in relationship to the four avenues of service. The four avenues of service are based on the object of Rotary. Here's what the object of Rotary states. First, the development of acquaintance as an opportunity for service, i.e. club service. Second, high ethical standards in business and professions. The recognition of worthiness of all useful occupations, the dignifying of each Rotarian's occupation as an opportunity to serve society, i.e. vocational service. Third, the application of the ideal of service in each Rotarian's personal, business, and community life. In other words, community service. And fourth, the advancement of international understanding, goodwill, and peace through a world fellowship of business and professional persons united in the ideal of service. In other words, international service. Looking at the area of club service, we individually can provide service to our club through service on our club's committees, our club's board of directors, our club's leadership, and serving as one of our officers. Looking at the area of vocational service in relation to this club, if we go way back in Rotary's history, each club could have only one banker, one lawyer, and so forth. The clubs had to get very creative with our vocations by narrowly defining one's vocation in relation to the membership in the club. For example, I have been told that the Rotary Club of Seattle had over 400 members, each with a very unique vocational title. For example, the vocation of banker was or could be expanded to business loan banker, housing loan banker, and so forth. How do we provide service through our vocations? Our vocational expertise can be applied to our club's needs. For example, providing legal or financial expertise to the needs of the club, or through the community and international projects that we in the club are involved with. We can all benefit from membership in this club by learning from our speakers, by expanding our own vocational knowledge as our speakers present their programs. Looking at the area of international service, we use our interests, knowledge, and skill on our international activities and projects. This club's water projects in Tanzania are a tremendous example of our members using their expertise in guiding these projects. Excuse me just a second. Looking at the area of community service, as a member of this club, we should be very proud of what we have contributed to our community over our 100-year history. For example, I would hope that each time you drive by the Stuart Smith Park on University Avenue, that you have a sense of pride as a member of this club planted all the trees that you see in that park back in the 1970s. In 1990, this club supported the development of the Israel Hospice House. When you drive into the Hospice House area, please note that the drive is called Rotary Way. In early 2000, for a couple of years, volunteers of this club assisted in the conducting of the UNICEF fund drive, raising funds for the eradication of polio. We have supported many, many community projects through our monetary contributions, such as the financing of the remodeling of the Rotary Room on the second floor of our public library. The financial support we have given for the remodeling of the Boys and Girls Club kitchen and the computers that we have provided to that club. The support for remodeling of the food at First Kitchen and the tremendous financial support this club provided to building the Miracle Park. This project was done in recognition of our club's 100th anniversary. Through the use of our knowledge and skills, many of us have been involved in many community projects. For example, the development of the Oversea Park, which is built in the northwest area of Hayden. This was done as Rotary celebrated its 100th anniversary. We have also supported raising readers by providing new books to be given by doctors at wellness checkups. Many of us have helped the Special Olympics conduct their annual opening ceremony each summer and the various games. Recently, many members of this club have worked on the development of the Dedesco Park in South Ames. For several years, groups of new members formed small committees who were involved in many projects, such as building the storage shelves that were built for the storage of Iowa Games equipment, the storage shelves at Access Women's Shelters, the shelters at the skateboard park, and the shelter at the campfire area on Duff Avenue. Also, the landscaping at the child serve area. We helped launch Ames' first formal daycare center, the community gallery at the Octagon Center for the Arts, and the Hartward House Alzheimer's Unit, and many other community projects. So let me conclude by stating the major component of membership in this club is service above self. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Appreciate
Yeah.
you taking time.
Yeah, Chad, I was going to say, there's no way in 10 minutes that we can cover everything, but that was a wonderful glimpse into some of the places that we may drive by in this community and not recognize it, especially someone like myself who was not part of Rotary in the 70s and earlier. But again, this is a unique opportunity for us to reflect, but also to do what we are saying, and that is build for the future. So thank you, Don, and your committee for the great work on researching our history and bringing these 10 minutes of memories back to all of us. Thank you.
Yeah, appreciate that. What a great reminder of all the things that have been done. Things I was not aware of either. So thank you for putting that together, Jeff. Thank you, Don, for your time and putting that together as well. Our program today will be our very own Liz Beck, who claims she needs no introduction, but I think we all know all the things that she has to offer. And this year has taken a very active role in our program planning as well. So we appreciate all you continue to do, Liz. And thank you for taking the time to put together this program for us today. Take it away.
Thank you. So as a member of Kelsey Bolte's Rotary Committee on Programs, I thought it'd be good to have a look at and talk with Lynette Pullman about our university museums. So I talked to her about doing a program today, and it turns out today she's mounting a new exhibit in Brunier Gallery, and it's not available to talk to us. But she pointed me to the video that I'm going to have Karen show today, and I hope it's not as fuzzy as some of the other things. But Lynette will tell us, if she were here, that ISU's contemporary museums were visioned in part by President Hilton, but brought into fruition by the work and support of Henry and Anne Brunier. Henry Brunier was the Iowa State College graduate in 1904, and in 1952, he was Rotary's international president. There's a quote from Daniel Webster that says, when tillage begins, the other arts follow. So when we look at today's video, it's going to be a painting, a mural by Grant Wood that depicts the tilling and breaking up of the prairie sod for agriculture and it is depicted in a visual art piece from the WPA and Grant Wood. So I think Karen can start the video. I learned a lot from listening to Lynette in this, and I hope you do too. So we can start.
My name is Lila Anderson, and I'm the educator of visual literacy and learning for University Museums. I'm here today with Lynette Pullman, Director and Chief Curator of the University Museums. And we're going to talk about the murals cycle that was directed by Grant Wood here in Parks Library. So I want to start off, and Lynette is going to talk about campus aesthetic and really how these murals fit into that history.
Campus Aesthetics at Iowa State was a planned educational aesthetic resource from the very beginning. It's one, we often think that having a beautiful campus was a happy accident. It wasn't. This mural came 75, 80 years after we were founded, and it was the latest thing in the 1930s, but the aesthetics began in 1858. To create a beautiful campus was to inspire learning, and creating a beautiful space that would inspire that learning was the most important part of having beauty incorporated. The notion of beauty and the notion of intellectualism was combined by our early founders, as well as our first president, Adonijah Welch. If you fast forward to the Great Depression, it was Raymond Hughes who became president in 1927. When he arrived, and he was a chemist by training, he wanted to create aesthetic objects. At that time we had beautiful buildings, we had lovely landscape, but he wanted to have also bring aesthetic objects into use at Iowa State. One of his first acts when coming to campus in 1927 and 28 was to establish the Art Committee of Iowa State, and he made himself chair of that. That connotates the impact and the importance of what he viewed for the role of the arts, humanities, and scientists at Iowa State. Hughes went around campus at that time and decided where were some of the newer buildings that were being built and where would artwork be located. He identified in the Dairy Courtyard where a cycle of murals would be outside. He defined in this Parks Library where this cycle of murals might be located. At the time, they were blank walls as drawn by the architect. He was planning with the Carnegie Foundation to commission a cycle of murals. He took advantage of the federal WPA program when it came along. It was a program to employ artists, as that federal program was for everyone, to employ so many people. Just as today when we have the pandemic, it is about employment and taking care of people first. And that included the artist. Grant Wood was Iowa's most significant artist. This was commissioned only 3 years after he did American Gothic, one of the most reproduced and known works of art in the world. Grant Wood was a very significant artist. He grew up in knowing the mural tradition and being a master artisan and a master painter. And so to work with a group of people, as he did here, to create his vision was how we came to have Breaking the Prairie sod, which is behind us, but also when we go up the stairs a little bit later, when tillage begins, the other parts will follow. From Grant Wood and then Christian Peterson to join the PWPA that set Iowa State on to really creating a world-class and large art on campus collection, which now numbers over 2,500 works of art. During the WPA and the WPA following that, and the Peterson years, 12 major site-specific works of art were created on campus. And you can see in the last 30 years, there's been many, many thousands, literally, added to that tradition. But that tradition is embedded in the early tradition of the 1850s of the role of beauty, aesthetics conjoined with science to inspire learning and to create an environment where our students go out and contribute to the world in not only their scientific expertise, their engineering expertise, but their ability to solve problems, the world's problems. And our art collection communicates ideas, concepts, and values that we all carry with us. That's the reason we have an Art on Campus collection. It is for the educational value and the uplifting quality of the human heart that we have this collection. I'm excited to give you a tour of this particular object. It's important, and we use it often for many of our classes because it is narrative and it is somewhat familiar. We as viewers of art are always comfortable when we can look and say, that's a person, this is a landscape. This is not about abstraction. This mural is very stylized, but it is not a hard mural to interpret. But yet there is a lot of information. We even wrote a book on this particular mural of 350 pages. Most people look at a work of art for 8 seconds and think they know everything that's in it. I guarantee you by the time you get done with this, there will be concepts that you will not have seen before. I have probably given this tour more than 5,000 times, and every time an Iowa State student comes up with something else in content that I have not seen before. Good, excellent works of art have a lot of content. It is the responsibility of our curiosity, our discovery, and our engagement. In other words, visual literacy and learning to come to that. So when I often am in this space with students, they are in your location, and I ask them to look and scan this mural. First of all, only giving me the data, what is just what you see, the interpretation, and then the evaluation. Most students start immediately by giving the interpretation and their personal opinion, like I like or I don't. So correct yourself as we go forward. This is only about the data. And then one of the easiest ways to do that on this mural and any other work of art you do, it is about asking questions. In this case, how many horses are there that are depicted? How many oxen are there? How many landscapes are there? How many trees are here? You get the idea. How many clouds are there in the sky? This allows your eye to scan the mural and to keep scanning. Oftentimes I will go on a diagonal and just looking for objects, just looking for what is there until I think I have at least looked at everything. I may also be looking for the color. How many colors are in this mural? What time was it done? You can tell almost to the year if you just analyze composition. After we have done the group think, and that's perfectly acceptable in visual literacy. What do you know and what do your student colleagues know? We go to interpretation, and that's especially helpful in interpretation. And I'll ask additional questions. Who's the man? What's his name? Who's the woman? Who's the young boy? You have to agree that there's a young boy because that is an interpretation. What are they doing? When we start, for example, delving into some of those interpretations, we will often get to who the man is likely Abraham Lincoln in youth maturity. And who was he? And why was he here depicted at the front door of the library? Why is he depicted here doing physical labor on the farm? Who was he? The students will respond that he was the president. What was he known for? The Emancipation Act. What else did he do in that same week? He signed the Mural Act, which was later assigned to Iowa State. Much of our early history is related to the Mural Act and to Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln owned land in Iowa, made him an Iowan by proxy, if you will. He gave us an educational form through his legislation and those of others that took and professionalized farming, engineering, and the humanities. He added this scope of educational access to the middle class. He elevated people from the farming community to have a profession. And we see that today in our science that is worldwide impact. That began with Abraham Lincoln and his colleagues that saw this need for an educational system that encompassed and included everybody. Who else is in this mural? There is a woman, and what is she doing? And again, you're looking closely. You're probably noticing that she has leather on her arm, and she has a bonnet. I'll move on, and when we talk about the interpretation here, I'll ask, there are 3 landscapes. Can you put the 3 landscapes, put dates on the 3 landscapes? And if you really analyze each of these landscapes, they're very telling. The first one has the oxen, the 10 oxen. That refers probably back to the founding of the state of Iowa, being found in agriculture through white settlement. And oxen were used to till the ground. That would have been a high prairie ground at that time. The next midsection is with the horses, and that's a depiction of probably about the 1870s, when the John Deere plow came in and allowed for a singular person to plow much more land with 3 horses and 1 plow than had been done 40 years earlier with the 10 oxen. That's a technology change. It's like going from the pencil to the computer. It's a huge change in terms of how the United States progressed forward. And the last time period that we see here is in the clouds. The clouds are reminiscent of the 1930s and the streamlined design of railroad cars, architectural buildings, etc. Why were those 3 time periods important? Well, obviously they're a reflection to the founding of the state of Iowa. Then we're reflecting on the founding of Iowa State. Why isn't the young man that's in the oxen vignette, why is he not in the 1870s vignette? Because he's in college. He came to Iowa State. Or that's my interpretation. And when you start putting then the clouds in the 1930s, what was happening, the students loved talking and trying to think what was going on in the 1930s. This was their grandparents' era at best. And it was the precursor to war. It was the Great Depression. There was famine, financial hardship. If you lived in the Midwest, if you lived in Iowa, which 98% of the students at that time were from Iowa, the state of Iowa, they certainly had food more than in most places in urban areas. But they did remember hardships. They have family stories of the hardships. And when we think, what's happening with those clouds? What's next? This is part of still the interpretation. And it's almost like the storm coming in. If you are attuned to the weather, when you see clouds rolling in banks like that, you think, ooh, storm is brewing. Take shelter, at least beware, be cautious. And when Grant Wood designed this in 1936 and 37, the United States had not entered the war, had not entered into the conflict in Europe. Something's brewing. They didn't know the answer to that at the time. They knew they were in the Dust Bowl, they knew they were in the Great Depression, they knew they were in hard times. They really didn't even understand the full magnitude of what's to come. This mural is, in a condensed version, a short history of white settlement in Iowa till the 1930s. And the role of education, you can read between the lines and how that changed the course of human history, let alone Iowa history and the United States history. In visual literacy, the last step then is evaluation. People will say, and this is where you want people to give their personal taste, their personal opinion. It can be all over the board. And oftentimes you see a great distinction from when you start the visual literacy to the end. People will look at this in 10 seconds as they're gathering for class and say, I don't like it. It's old-fashioned. The colors. There's 7 colors here. They didn't have a clue there were 7 colors here. They didn't understand the depth of what is here. When you get to evaluation after you have done visual literacy, you still may not personally think it is an aesthetic experience that is you would put in your living room. That's not the question at Iowa State. It's whether you understand it. And that's what all of the works of art at Iowa State are about. Do you understand it? Have you taken the time, the mental capacity, and the emotional capacity to come to understanding and transfer those thoughts and ideas into making you a more expansive personality? So whatever the evaluation is, it's very acceptable, but almost always people agree they've had the aha moment. I understand more, and I have far more to learn.
One of the things I find really spectacular about this mural is the specificity and exactness and well thought out research of the items that Grant Wood includes. As someone that studied biology and botany, one of the things that I like to look at and focus in on is the wildflowers that are down at the bottom. And I do tell students when we talk about this mural to say, where are we? And you can guess we're in Iowa, but the flora that's here really does clue you into these are very specific Midwestern Iowan flowers that we're seeing. He's included spring ephemerals like the jack in the pulpit, the trillium, the Virginia bluebells. These are blooming right now. So we can even get a sense of season. I mean, these are flowers that are blooming just for a few short weeks in April or May. Here we have the Solomon seal, the May apple, and that the ability that I can identify these plants and know very specifically what they are, I think is a credit to Wood in the way that he's designed these murals and done the research to make sure that it's very accurate. Another indicator we have of the time period of this mural is the cherry blossoms blooming along here. And then also the willow sticks that they carry are, again, something that are being used in the springtime. Another tiny detail that I think, again, is just important and shows that thoughtfulness and that research and really the ability to create a sense of place in a very specific place and time and moment is you can see in the clothing that here the suspender is held up by a nail. We can look at the woman's bonnet and that her leather sleeves and how those are indicating that she is probably cooking over. She's not using our conventional gas range, right? She's cooking over an open fire, and those are, or a coal stove or something where she needs to have protection for her arms. So I think the specificity of these small details really brings this to life, and again, is part of how we can look at this for so many times. We can look at it over decades and find new things and see new details. So as we close in looking at this mural, and Lynette really touched on it in a lot of ways of having Lincoln here, but this was a main thoroughfare of students walking through this area, and ultimately this was a work of art that was funded through the WPA, through the PWAP, and really it has a point, it has a message in almost kind of a propaganda-like way. You can see here, these students walking by can say, if I work hard, if I'm diligent, if I study, if I come here and learn to innovate, I too have the possibility of becoming a president of the United States. I mean, there's definitely a message here and something that Grant Wood is wanting to convey through this mural cycle.
Remember, you can look at this mural for decades and find new thoughts, ideas, and emotions. And that's your challenge. You must maintain your curiosity, your innovation. It is not just up to an art historian, such as myself, standing in front of you and providing you this information. It's your responsibility, as it is every Iowa State University student responsibility, to actually put the thought and the effort to come to understanding. So as much thought as you put into your chemistry class, put into looking at public art, visual literacy. Thank you.
So I learned a lot, even again, this is the fourth time I've seen this as I've looked at it. So I'm hoping that this helps you understand the work that Lynette and her team are doing at Brunier, because this was a video that's shown to a number of classes to try and help our Iowa State students understand the role of visual art or performing arts and all arts in their education. Karen's going to put up a slide, I hope, that's going to show you some access to more resources that Lynette sent me. And well, okay, it's unreadable. So, but I think it'll be on the YouTube, or we can figure out how to get that to people. I don't know.
I think Karen emailed out some links, didn't she?
She did, but this slide isn't on the link.
Okay.
So I can send the message that Lynette sent me with these links on it. part of this is, while we can't go inside the buildings and see some of these things, there are opportunities in these links to take a walk around campus, to see the public art that we can see. And I know that in the 1980s, when I was the head of the honors program, Louis Thompson, who's no longer living, but was the Associate Dean of Agriculture. How many of us remember Louis around campus? His grandson did a video of the public art on campus, and Grant, his grandson, is now on faculty, I think, in horticulture. So take advantage of the art that's at Brunier and Christian Peters and all of the other arts on campus, because it's a really rich environment. And I want to thank you for hanging in there and watching the video.
Thank you, Liz. Appreciate you setting that up for us. And again, if there are other questions, I'm sure you could reach out to Lynette at the Iowa State University Museums. Park Woodle, one of our new members, you had mentioned that in Cedar Rapids, there's a new exhibit at the Cedar Rapids Art Museum for Grant Wood as well. It sounds like that might be going on now. So if anyone wanted to learn more or see more, kids could take a look at that as well. But as always, what an amazing resource the university is to us and to our community to have this type of art available. Anyone have any other thoughts or comments on our presentation today?
This is Georgia Bloom. I just wanted to say that last year, I think it was Lynette and her person that works with her came to the Ames Public Library and did this whole program for us down there, and it's wonderful. And I think we should all use our Ames Public Library more if we ever get to go back to it.
Thank you, and I'm sure Sheila Schoper loves that plug, Georgia, there for the Ames Public Library. What another great resource in our community as well. Thank you for sharing that. Anyone else? Thoughts? Looks like we might get out early today, class, so you can go have fun. Next week, remember, we're going to have one of our own presenting. This next week will actually be MLK Day, Celebration Day. And Theresa Cooper, one of our club members, will be our program for that day. So look forward to that. And we'll also hopefully hear from Wayne Clinton next week as well, introducing maybe the program and what he intends to share, since he'll be the Master of Ceremonies and presenter. So with that, let's go ahead and wrap up our meeting. Remember, there is a board meeting today. It was going to be at 1 o'clock. I would just propose that if board members are available, we might see if we can get that started a little earlier today. But the four-way test of the things we think, say, or do. Is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned? So have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you next week.